Hey everyone, David here. Again, apologizing for the scarcity of videos recently. I know I've been posting like once a week. I've been really busy with work, but now I'm gonna have an awful lot more free time since I am taking some time off school. It's just for the summer, then the fall I'm gonna return so that in the meantime I can focus more on writing, of course working, and also producing more content for the channel. I'm hoping to go back to the routine of posting at least 2 videos a week, but at the same time, as I mentioned before, I don't want to burn out too quickly because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. might not return until next year, so I don't want to go through my content a little too early and then later on I don't know what to talk about. So, kind of pacing myself, but at the same time, I'm hoping to bring you guys some more content to let you know that, hey, I'm still alive. So, that's why I'm bringing you guys a little short review on something that Don't Not Entertainment recently put out there after the surprise reveal at E3, and then shortly thereafter saying, oh yeah, it's coming out in a couple weeks, and it's going to be totally free. Free? That's my favorite price. So I went and downloaded, played, and I am now here to review the awesome adventures of Captain Spirit. So if you guys are not familiar with the development team Don't Nod Entertainment, under the publication of Square Enix, they are the ones who brought us, I guess you could say, season 1 of Life is Strange. A couple of years back, I think it was in 2015, there was a 5-episode series called Life is Strange that told the story of this girl named Max and her little adventures, to say the least, in the small city of Arcadia Bay, which is someplace in Seattle, because they all look hipsterish and there's like rain and just the murky kind of atmosphere, but at the same time very hipsterish with the music and all that. However, there was a little bit of a supernatural twist in the sense that she had the ability to rewind time, and the entire gameplay mechanics was centered around that. But when it came down to it, it was a point-and-click adventure, very a la The Walking, well, not The Walking Dead, but at least Telltale games, where you have to make certain choices, dialogue options, and that kind of tailored how the experience was going to play from episode to episode. From that point forward, we got another series that was of 3 episodes that was mostly a prequel series that took a side character from Life is Strange and made her the central character, and it took place before the events of the first Life is Strange. However, this was done by Tech9, or I think Deck9. I think it's a Tech9. I think that's a rapper. So I might have gotten that wrong, but Deck9 is the developer who took over Don't Nod for Life is Strange before the storm. Now, Don't Not Entertainment back again after giving us Vampire, which is kind of hit or miss depending on who you ask. And they created, not only are they creating Life is Strange 2, which they announced at E3 saying that it's coming with the first episode in September, but now we got the awesome adventures of Captain Spirit, which is meant to kind of somewhat bridge the gap between Life is Strange and Life is Strange 2, and it's free for download. So when I heard that, I thought to myself, okay, this is going to be 1 episode, and it's going to be a very quick playthrough, because it's only going to be like an hour and a half or something. They can't offer that much content for free. And I was, for the most part, kind of right. It is about an hour and a half to maybe about 2 hours, depending on how much stuff you actually get to do within this episode. And the entire thing centers around this boy, I think he's 10 years old, 10-year-old boy named Chris, inside of his home on a Saturday morning. And the entire premise of the episode is supposed to chronicle what it's like to be a kid again on a Saturday morning when you got finished with school Monday through Friday, you got all your chores done for the most part, and you wake up Saturday morning thinking to yourself, you can do whatever you want. And of course, being a 10-year-old kid, you either want to play video games, you want to play with your action figures, or you want to pretend to be a superhero. And that kind of is what Don't Nod kind of took as their anchor for Captain Spirit, where you play as Chris and you pretty much do all of these things all at once through the imagination goggles of Chris as this Captain Spirit figure he created for himself, and interacting with the different things within his room, within his father's room, even outside of the house with little snowmen, because it does take place in some type of winter town. It's never exactly mentioned where it's at. It's kind of cute. It's not exactly the most thrilling or the most emotionally riveting piece of gaming media that I've ever experienced necessarily, but it's something that it did kind of give myself a little twinkle and making me think of those good old days where I actually liked going outside. I don't really like going outside that much anymore, but that's not to say that it's because I don't like going outside, and there aren't certain things that I wouldn't like to do ever so often. I do like to toss the basketball around. I do like to ride on a bicycle ever so often, because, yeah, I do find it kind of, kind of neat. But just the world has changed over time, so I'm kind of appreciative to something like The Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit that kind of made me think of what it was like to play in the snow and to kind of pretend that I'm a superhero and go around and just let my imagination kind of roam free, and that's what Captain Spirit's greatest strength was. However, if you have played Life is Strange or even Life is Strange Before the Storm, which Deck 9 really nailed the atmosphere and the tone and the way the original Life is Strange played out, so they kind of go hand in hand. Well, Captain Spirit pretty much joins those ranks in terms of bringing those certain elements that you've kind of gotten accustomed to when playing those Life is Strange peripherals, where you got the independent music that kind of starts playing with the guitar, and then you got some atmospheric shots of the environment and characters, or in this case, I guess just one character, which is Chris, aka Captain Spirit, just looking on and kind of thinking to themselves in a wistful manner, like how happy or content they are at the moment, and Life is Strange was always filled with that, so I'm like, okay, those moments are going to be there. And, of course, it never fails to amaze how much they're able to include that one asshole character that reminds you that life cannot be all pink and roses. It just really isn't, even through the eyes of a 10-year-old imaginative child like Chris. And here it's his abusive alcoholic father who, from the get-go, he fills in all those gaps, and yeah, it really checks up all the boxes for a alcoholic father, except he doesn't play it off as, I guess I could say, as dickish as you would expect him to be. In fact, early on, it kind of keeps you guessing as to whether or not maybe he just has a simple drinking problem and he's a little bit more neglective of his son, and thus his son kind of has to pick up the slack when it comes to doing chores around the house or pretending that things are alright. But then, of course, over time, there's little things that they do, whether it be with the interaction between Chris and his father, or even some things in the background or little details that make you go, okay, maybe some things could be a little darker than they are being led on to believe. And it, just like Chris uses his imagination to kind of escape this slight little trauma, especially that the trauma that doesn't just center on his father, but also centers on other aspects that have happened prior to when this episode takes place, it could get a little bit darker if you yourself use your imagination, thinking like, okay, how far has this thing exactly come besides just this simple Saturday morning? And over the episode, and again, it's just a simple 2-hour playthrough, but little bits here and there make you go like, okay, there's even some other people that might be aware of the current situation that Chris is kind of stuck in, and it does escalate to a peak towards the end. It's just a shame that a couple of things happened by the end that didn't rub me the right way. One of them is that the game, if you play it a certain way, kind of ends on you. Like, I did something that I thought was just going to progress the story, and it inadvertently ended the game. It ended it before I got a chance to kind of complete certain things, and I'm like, oh, I actually kind of like this Chris kid. Sure, he was a little too cutesy in certain moments where I'm like, okay, that was sappy as fuck, but still, again, it was charming, and it was reminding me of what it was like to be a kid and to kind of pretend to be a superhero, an original superhero, not necessarily Spider-Man and Batman, which are my favorites. But before I got a chance to do some of those things or complete them, I beat the game, and then I don't know what it was, but just something inside me was fighting really hard to jump back into it before that thing that kind of presented the ending cutscene kind of took place. And so I'm like, okay, I'll do these couple of things, but now that I know how it ends, I'm not exactly in a humongous rush to get all these things kind of complete. So unless you're a humongous completionist, you might have the similar effect. And it ends in a cliffhanger that is reminiscent of Life is Strange, where you don't know if something is supernatural or it isn't, and it kind of leaves you guessing. But guess what? You want to know how it ends? Purchase Life is Strange 2 on September, because it ends in a way that made me believe that, okay, cool, they had us fooled. We're gonna get a second episode. Neat. Hopefully it's free. Yeah, no. The next time you'll see Chris will be in Life is Strange 2. How? In what kind of situation? And how is it going to connect to whatever's going on with Max, her power, and what we were left with at the end of the Life is Strange full 5-episode season, depending on what choice you made there at the very end between the two? That is left to be determined, but something tells me that a brand new setting is probably going to be tied in, because, again, I don't know if we're going to exactly deal with Arcadia Bay, considering the ending of the last one, and exactly how Max is going to progress forward and how she's going to be connected with Chris, and whether or not there's going to be something supernatural there. But we're going to have to wait. In the meantime, Captain Spirit was like that appetizer that Telltale even kind of threw at us at one point with The Walking Dead 400 Days, where it was more so, or even Michonne, when they did the 3-episode Michonne series, that it was more like an appetizer to kind of get us to shut up and give us a little something of what we kind of like. But I don't know if they 100% did it for themselves because they truly, absolutely needed to tell this story. In my opinion, I think I could have skipped this if I truly wanted to, just jump into Life is Strange 2, and I don't think I would have noticed a significant change. Sure, it fleshes out Chris a little more and his background story, so that when he does pop out in Life is Strange 2, I'll be like, oh hey, he's in that situation. However, if you skip it, even though I don't know what you want to, it's free. Go ahead and play it. You got 2 hours every time. Do it. I recommend it. I still don't think it's going to affect the grand scale of things. But the fact that it's free does make it a worthwhile experience. And I think if it was like $2 or $3, that's when we might have had a little bit of an issue. Don't nod. So I'm going to be giving The Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit a very, very high 7 out of 10. Very entertaining, a really good little appetizer. It was almost like a comfort food type of thing. Just like the way Chris serves up a nice, delicious looking mac and cheese to his dad. This is kind of what that was from Donut to us players who have been playing the Life is Strange series. Because believe it or not, the Life is Strange games, they're kind of guilty pleasures to me. I understand that they do have their problems. Hella a lot of problems. Jesus Christ. However, there's just so many things in those games that for some reason just hit me in all the right ways, and I just can't help but get invested in some, not all. Chloe still had some problems. Chloe was, she was infuriating at times, but characters like Max or Joy, they're the ones that I was actually willing to make it to the end for these things. And I think Chris could very well be another character like those. So please let me know in the comments below what you guys think of The Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit. It's worth a mouthful, but what do you guys think? It was free. Go ahead and play it if you haven't. But if you have, please post in comments below what you guys think. What are your theories about how Chris is going to tie into Life is Strange 2? Who's going to be the playable character? Do you think Max is going to return? Or do you think it's going to center on some brand new people? Whatever it is, let me know. Keep it slightly spoiler vague. Don't be kind of getting into some really deep and down and dirty details from Life is Strange or even Before the Storm. Some people may not have played it, so keep it clean for them. And of course, do not forget to follow me on all social media platforms, as well as like and share this video. Subscribe for more videos coming soon, because if you guys have been keeping up with my posts and image posts here on YouTube, even a few on Twitter, you'll notice that I'm working on some very Spider-Man related stuff, and I'm looking forward to bring it to you guys. Until next time, see you all later. She gets fully fleshed out here as the more she gets involved with Peter, to the point where it's almost like you start to unwillingly get frustrated with Peter for being such a horny bastard.
I think Liz Allen really is into me. Gwen, too. Gwen, Liz, Gwen.
God damn, I'm surprised Peter didn't go after Flash's mom.
Mom?
Really surprised. My spidey hormones are tingling.